morning children, welcome to today's class. Yes children, you are going to appear for your FA3, that is formative assessment 3. So before attending the test, I want you all to be brushed and aware of the question paper pattern and also the questions for your test and even the syllabus. So first let us know what is your test question. Your test questions are lesson number 6, the warrior who brought glory. Lesson number 7, the parable of talents. Poem number 6, the patriot. Poem number 7, the kitten at play. Your grammar questions, unit 4, the noun kinds of nouns. Unit 5, the verb kinds of verbs. Yes, you came to know about your test questions. Now let us know how is your test question paper pattern. Question paper pattern, rewrite as directed. First main you will be having rewrite as directed. Each question carries a half mark. Number of questions are 8. So you get totally 4 marks for the main. A second main, correlate the following. So each question carries half mark and you have 4 questions. So altogether second main carries 2 marks. Third main, fill in the blanks. Each question carries half mark. Number of questions are 4. Altogether, third main carries 2 marks. Fourth main, answer the following in one sentence. So each question will carry 1 mark. 2 questions will be having, altogether you get 2 marks there. Next main, write the summary. You have to write the summary of the poem given there. So it carries 2 marks. The summary carries 2 marks. Then next, answer the following in 2 or more sentences. So here each question carries 1.5 mark. Altogether you have 4 questions, totally 6 marks. Next main, reference to context. You have each question carries 2 marks. You have only 1 question, so you get 2 marks in that main. So altogether the total marks of your question paper is 20. The maximum marks is 20. So I think so now you understood the question paper pattern. Now let us revise your test questions. Lesson number 6, that is the warrior who brought glory. In this lesson we study about the warrior Sam Manekshaw. What is his full name? His full name is Sam Harmuji Premji Jamshedji Manekshaw. So shortly they call him as Sam Manekshaw. Sam Manekshaw, he was born in Amritsar on 3rd April in the year 1914. So he completed his class 11 at Sherwood College in 9th term. Then he liked to join the army. Therefore, he entered the army entrance exam in the year 1932. After attending the army entrance exam in the year 1932, in the year 1934, he completed his IMA in Indian Military Academy. He joined it in Dehradun. So here, Sam Manekshaw, when he applied for the Indian Military Academy, there were 1200 applicants for 15 vacancies. Among them, even Sam Manekshaw was one. For this 15 vacancies, even he had applied and he got selected in the year 1934. Then, when he joined the Indian Military Academy, he had took part in World War II. So while he took part in the World War II, he was defending Burma against the Japanese. So during that situation in the battlefield, a Japanese soldier attacked him at the back. That means he shot him. So when he was shot by a Japanese soldier, he was seriously wounded. Therefore, the then Major General David Cameron thought that Manekshaw would lose his life. Therefore, what did he do? He took his own military cross ribbon and pinned it to Manekshaw in the battlefield, saying that a dead person cannot be awarded a military cross ribbon. So then after this he recovered from his injuries, and then after recovery he did not stay idle. He took active part in the Indian military. So at that time the warriors in the Gurkha regiment, they composed songs praising his humanness. He was a kind-hearted and he was very cordial with his fellow soldiers. The then General Sir Roy Bucher, the British Commander-in-Chief, he said that he has never seen such a best staff officer. Then in June 1969, he succeeded General Kumaramangalam as the 8th Army Staff Chief. In the year 19, after taking his promotion, after getting the promotion, within 2 years, he had to take active part to confront the designs of Pakistan. In the year 1971, he led our Indian Army to confront the design of Pakistan. Pakistan tried to attack our country. At that time, he took the active part and he led the army against Pakistan. Then in the year 1972, he received Padma Vibhushan Award for his service of such duty. And then in the year 1973, he got Field Marshal title. Then later on, he died in the year 2008 in June at a military hospital in Nilgiris at Tamil Nadu. So I think so. Now you learned about the warriors who brought glory. Let us move to the next lesson. Yes, children. Now lesson number 7, the parable of talents. Yes, in this lesson, the master, he has to move for a journey. That means he is going on a journey. Therefore, he entrusted his property to his slaves. He gave them according to their ability. He distributed his property to them and he set back on a journey. When he went out on a journey, to the first slave he gave 5 talents, and to the second slave he gave 2 talents. To the third slave he gave 1 talent according to their ability. What did the first and the second slave did? The first and the second slave, they used these talents, they traded with it and they made it more. The first slave who received 5 talents, he traded with that and he made 5 more talents. Now totally altogether he had 10 talents with him. The second slave, he used those 2 talents, he traded and then he made it 4 talents. That means he made 2 more talents. Whereas the third slave, who was lazy and who was idle, he dug a hole and hid this talent in the ground. So after some days, when the master he came back from his journey, the first and the second slave, they handed over him, saying that they have made a trade and they have improved, and then he gave back the talents along with the benefit. So the first slave, he handed over 10 talents to the master. The second slave, he handed over 4 talents to the master. The master was pleased with the first and the second slave. So he said that, well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. He praised them and he gave them still more responsibilities. But what did the third slave do? He hid it in a hole. Now, when the master came back, he dug the hole and he returned him back the 1 talent. Will the master be happy with that? No, he got angry. So he said, the slave said, Master, I knew that you are a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you did not scatter the seed. So I was afraid and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. He said so and he returned it back. The master got angry. So what did the master say? You wicked and lazy slave, you knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow and gather where I did not scatter. then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was my own with interest. So now the master, he got angry and he scolded him. You know that I am a harsh man and I would reap where I did not scatter. Therefore, what you should have done, you should have invested my money in the bank. At least I would have got the interest while I returned. So now the master scolded him and he took back the talent from him and he gave it to others. Even God will not be pleased with us when we are lazy and idle children. Therefore, you should always be active and you should try to improve in your life and learn the moral on each day. So, I think so you understood this. So, this means that always you should be active and also you should use your thinking power. More than the physical strength, the thinking ability is great. Now, let us move to the next point. Yes, children, now let us move to the summary of the poem, The Kitten at Play. The poet of this poem, The Kitten at Play, is William Wordsworth. In this poem, the poet admires at the kitten which is playing with the withering leaves. What do you mean by withering? Withering means falling leaves. Here the kitten, it crouches, stretches, paws and darts in the morning. And that means it stretches its legs, it paws and then it tries to catch the falling leaves from the old tree. It is playing early in the morning. How is the climate then? The morning is very pleasant and calm and it is filled with frosty air. Here the kitten's name is Tabby. The poet is talking about the kitten whose name is Tabby. Here the kitten, he compares the kitten to the tiger. It leaps like a tiger. That means it jumps like a tiger and plays with the withering leaves gracefully. And also he compares this kitten to an Indian conjurer. It is playing with the withering leaves like an Indian conjurer. It's very quick in its fears. Conjurer means magician. So I hope you understood the summary of this poem. Now let us move to the next poem, The Patriot, written by Sir Walter Scott. The poet of the poem Patriot is Sir Walter Scott. In this poem, so already we learnt about Sam Manekshaw, who is a patriot. Here the poem name is Patriot, but here the poem speaks about the person who is not patriot in this poem. He describes the plight of a person who does not possess any love or patriotic feeling towards his motherland. The poet says that the person who does not have patriotism is like a dead man. He is considered like a dust. So here the person, he takes birth in his motherland, he studies here and he learns how to earn the money. Later on, he moves to the abroad and he earns for his life. At that time, what does he do? He doesn't return back to his motherland. When he turns back to his motherland, he doesn't have any patriotism towards his motherland. So such person is considered to be like a dead man, whose heart never burns within him for his motherland. He is like a dead person. The poet says that he is like a dead man. And though he has high titles, and pelf means wealthier, though he has more titles, he has studied more and got many titles along his name, which gives proud to his name. But though he has so many titles and boundless wealth, more wealth, though he has earned more wealth, when he dies, it is all compared to a wild dust. That means it all looks to a worthless dust. And no poet will sing or praise him and his deeds, looking at his titles and wealth. So a poet will praise a person who is patriot. Therefore, each and every person should be patriot towards his motherland. I think so. You understood the summary of this poem also, children. Now, next, let us move to your grammar. Yes, children, in your textbook we have grammar now. let us once look at these grammar points, children. So in your textbook, in lesson number 6, we come across prepositions. So you have to work on these prepositions, children. Page number 79. Fill in the blanks in the following sentences using the words given in brackets. Here you have the prepositions in or at. So you have to use these prepositions. For example, the bus leaves dash 8 a.m. at 8 a.m. Between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. they will be dash the school. They will be in the school. So like this you have to fill these blanks and you have to learn for your test. And then come to page number 77, children. Here some nouns are formed by adding ION or TION. For example, you have contribute. Contribute is a verb. It is an action word. You have to change this word into a noun. How do you change? For example, contribute. Yes. Now you have to change this into noun by adding ION. So contribute, contribution. Contribute, contribution. BUTION. Removing the E, you are going to add ION. So like this. For examine, examination. Promote, promotion. Recognize, recognition. Act, action. Complete, completion. Dedicate, dedication. Admire, admiration. Yes, this is changing a verb into noun by adding ION or TION. So then come to lesson number 7, children. That is unit 7. In that you have verbs here. These verbs are in present tense. You have to change these verbs into past tense. Let's look here at these words, children. Learn. I have to change this learn. It is in present form. To make it as past forms, we have to use learned. That is T. Eat, ate. Go, went. Come, came. Buy, bought. Yes, these are the new words, children. But you have to change the present tense into past tense. I already taught you through the video once. Now you have to revise all these for your test, children. Then let me once tell you the answers to the words given in your textbook. Open page number 88. Eat, ate. You have to repeat along with me now. Fly, flew. Move, moved. Leave, left. Leave, lived. Go, went. Read, read. Here the spelling does not change. It remains the same. Watch, watched. Bring, brought. Know, knew. That is KNEW. Listen, listened. Write, wrote. Walk, walked. So here, walk, walked. Most of the verbs will be changed into past tense by adding ed, children. For example, walk, walked. Prepare, prepared. Visit, visited. Play, played. Pray, prayed. Enjoy, enjoyed. So here all these words will end with the word with the letters ed. And then see, saw. So I think so now you understood about the past tense. So these are the, and then next let us come to the next grammar part, that which we come across in this poem. That is the poem Kitten at Play. Yes, we come across homophones. What are homophones? Homophones are the words which have different spelling but the same sound. You pronounce it, the pronunciation is same but the spelling is different and even the meaning is also different. For example, P-R-E-Y, pray. It is the food that the animal hunt for their food. And then P-R-A-Y, pray. It is praising the Lord. The prayer you do. That means you praise the Lord by a prayer. And then way. This is the direction. W-A-Y, way is the direction. W-E-I-G-H, way. It is the weight of a substance. And then fair, F-A-I-R, fair. It means the fair, good, or else a procession. Here, F-A-R-E, fair. It means the cost for traveling. Yes, your grammar portions is the noun, kinds of nouns, verb and kinds of verbs. Yes, first let us move to the nouns and kinds of nouns. What do you mean by a noun? Noun is the name of a person, place, animal, thing, or feel or ideas. It is a naming word. So this noun is divided into 5 kinds. What are they? Proper noun, common noun, collective noun, material noun and abstract noun. What do you mean by proper noun? Proper noun is a special name given to a person, place or animal. And then common noun is a common name given to a person, place, animal or thing. Collective noun, it is the name given to a collection of person or things. Material noun, it is the name of matter or substance what a thing is made up of. Abstract noun, it is the name of things or ideas that you can only feel and you cannot touch. Now look at these examples, children. The Nile is a large river in Egypt. Here the word Nile, river, Egypt, all these are nouns here. A fleet of ships, fleet, ships. The table is made of wood, table, wood. A cruel man shows cruelty, cruel man, cruelty. So the words which I have underlined here, these are the nouns here because they are the name. Here Nile, Nile is the name of a river. Nile is a particular name given to a river. So this particular name given to that river is called as proper noun. Is called as proper noun because it is a special name. Nile means it is only the river Nile. Yamuna means it is only the river Yamuna. Ganges means it is only the river Ganges. But river means it is common. So this word river, it becomes a common noun because it is the name given in common. Egypt, Egypt is a name of a particular place. It is a special name given to that place. Therefore, it is a proper noun. Here, always a proper noun should begin with a capital letter. So, remember it, children. Always a proper noun should begin with a capital letter. Therefore, N is in capital and here E is in capital. Next, come to the next sentence. A fleet of ships. Here, ships is a common name. Therefore, it is a common noun. Whereas fleet, fleet is the name given to a collection of ships, a group of ships. Therefore, it is called as collective noun. You call it as collective noun because it is the name given to the collection of ships here. The table is made of wood. Here table, table is a common noun because it is a common name. Yes, then what about this wood? It is known as material noun. Why? Because this table is made of something, some substance, some matter. What is that matter? It is wood. If it is made up of iron, then it becomes, iron becomes the material noun. This table is now made up of wood. Therefore, this wood becomes a material noun. Next, a cruel man shows cruelty. Here, cruel man is a common noun. Whereas, cruelty, what is this cruelty? This cruelty, it is the name of a feel that you can't touch. You can only feel it. You can feel how good a person is, how bad a person is, how cruel a person is, how kind. All these things you can feel. Kindness. So here in the same manner, cruelty, it is the name of a character, of a feel, of an idea. Therefore, this cruelty becomes an abstract noun. I hope you understood now the noun and kinds of noun, children. So you have 5 kinds of noun. What are they? Proper noun, common noun, collective noun, material noun and abstract noun. Proper noun is a special name and a proper noun should always begin with a capital letter. Common noun is the common name. Collective noun is the name given to the collection of person or things. Material noun is the name of a matter or substance what a thing is made up of. Abstract noun is the name of things or ideas that you can only feel but you cannot touch. So I think so now you got my point. Now let us move to the next unit. Let's now look here, children, the verb kinds of verbs. The next unit. What is a verb? A verb is a word which says something about a subject. It says something about the subject and then it shows you the action. A verb which requires an object after it to complete its sense is called a transitive verb. A verb which does not require an object to complete its sense but makes good sense by itself is called an intransitive verb. Yes, now you came to know about the verb and kinds of verbs. We have 2 kinds of verbs here, that is transitive verb and intransitive verb. Here, come on, let us look at these sentences now. The boys are playing football. Here, which is the action word? Which is the verb here? Playing is the action word, which is the verb here. Fire burns. Burns is the verb here. He seems innocent. Seems is the verb here. As here, you look at these sentences, children, now. The boys are playing. So here something is receiving the action here. What is receiving the action here? Football. Football is the object. So football is the object. Whereas playing is the verb. And boys is the subject here. Yes. Here, if a verb requires an object, then you call such verb as transitive verb. What do you call it as? Transitive verb. If a verb has an object, then you call such verb as transitive verb. Here, which is the object here? Football is the object. So, which is the verb here? Playing. What are the boys playing? The boys are playing football. So, here, if the verb has an object, then you call such kind of verb as transitive verb. Now, come to the next sentence. Here, fire burns. Here, which is the verb here? Burns. Does it have any object here? No. Yes. If the verb doesn't require an object to complete its sense, then you call such verb without an object. If the verb gives a good sense, you call such verb as intransitive verb. You call it as intransitive verb. So, a verb which does not require an object to complete its sense but makes good sense by itself is called an intransitive verb. Next, come and look at this sentence now. He seems innocent. Here, seems is the verb here. Seems is the verb here. Require a word or a phrase, you call such verbs as verbs of incomplete predication. So here, he seems. It needs some other word to complete its meaning. What does it need? It needs the word innocent. This word innocent is the complement. It is called as complement. Is the complement to the verb seems. He seems innocent. So here the verbs which does not give complete meaning but requires some words after them to complete its meaning. Such verbs you call it as verbs of incomplete predication. I hope now you understood the verb and kinds of verb, children. Children, you have to practice well for your FA3. You have to refer your classwork and grammar textbook, even your textbook also, English reader also. All these 3 books you have to refer and practice well for your FA3. Prepare well for your test, children. You have to memorize the poem The Kitten at Play also. Let us meet in the next class. Thank you.